In this in-depth conversation, Andrew Huberman interviews Dr. Martin Picard, a professor of behavioral medicine at Columbia University and a leading expert in mitochondrial biology and its connection to energy production, psychological states, and aging. The discussion explores how mitochondria act not merely as energy powerhouses, but as dynamic antennas that link psychological experiences to cellular function, biological aging, and vitality. The podcast delves into the nuanced roles mitochondria play in health, including their involvement in hair graying, the effects of stress on energy metabolism, mitochondrial diversity across tissues, and practical insights on enhancing mitochondrial function through lifestyle choices such as exercise, nutrition, meditation, and sleep. The episode begins by redefining energy beyond conventional physics terms, framing energy as the potential for change, a concept borrowed from Dr. Picard's biophysicist wife. Energy manifests in many forms: thermal, electromagnetic, kinetic, and chemical. But at a biological level, it is the flow and transformation of energy that sustains life. Mitochondria transform biochemical energy from food and oxygen into usable forms such as ATP, reactive oxygen species, and signaling molecules. Dr. Picard emphasizes that the difference between life and death is this continuous flow of energy. When energy flow ceases, consciousness and biological functions stop. Emotions themselves can be interpreted as energy in motion, our subjective experience of changes in energetic states within the body and brain. While mitochondria famously produce ATP, Picard stresses their roles extend far beyond this. They serve as dynamic processors of energy, shaping how the body allocates energy for different functions, depending on organ-specific demands and psychological states. Mitochondria pattern raw chemical energy into meaningful biological signals, influencing mental and physical vigor. They also act as sensors linking psychological experiences, like stress and purpose, to cellular energy production and whole-body health. This view challenges gene-centric dogma in biology, showing that genetically identical cells can exhibit different behaviors based on mitochondrial energetics. Dr. Picard introduces the concept of mitotypes, different types of mitochondria within various tissues and even within a single cell, specialized according to local energetic needs. For example, cardiac mitochondria differ from neuronal or muscle mitochondria in structure, function, and their ability to handle calcium and produce ATP or reactive oxygen species. This heterogeneity arises during development, where mitochondria differentiate to suit specific organ functions despite having identical genomes. Picard likens mitochondria to social organisms exhibiting division of labor, fusion, and communication to optimize energy transformation. This mitotypic diversification reflects their critical role in adapting energy flow throughout the body. One of the remarkable points discussed is the disproportional impact of lifestyle versus genetics on longevity and aging. Only about 7 to 10% of lifespan is genetically determined, while 90% is influenced by environmental and behavioral factors. Aging is not a linear, inevitable decline, but exhibits tipping points often linked to mitochondrial function and energy flow. For instance, chronic inflammation and cellular energetic stress divert significant energy towards immune activation and away from growth, repair, and cognitive function, leading to symptoms like fatigue, apathy, and reduced vitality, commonly observed with aging and illness. Dr. Picard's lab pioneered the discovery that hair graying, commonly accepted as irreversible, is actually reversible to some extent, tied closely to psychological stress and mitochondrial function in hair follicle cells. Using a clever molecular timeline approach akin to reading tree rings, they identified hairs with segments that transitioned from pigmented to gray and back to pigmented. This demonstrated that mitochondrial activity within follicles fluctuates with stress levels, impacting hair pigmentation dynamically. Although not all graying is reversible, the findings highlight a broader paradigm where biological aging markers can be modulated by mental and energetic states. Energy in the body operates under a strict economy. You cannot simply consume more calories to achieve infinite energy. Instead, optimal function depends on how mitochondria transform and distribute energy, with energy flow requiring resistance to facilitate transformation, analogous to Morse code requiring a lever to produce meaningful signals from pure electricity. This principle explains many physiological phenomena, such as the trade-offs during intense exercise, where energy is preferentially allocated to muscles at the expense of reproductive function, or during illness, when energy redirects from physical activity to immune responses, resulting in lethargy and appetite changes. Stress profoundly impacts mitochondrial function by increasing energetic demand and resistance. Sympathetic nervous system activation, stress hormones, and inflammatory cytokines cause cells and mitochondria to burn energy inefficiently, reducing overall vitality. Conditions like mitochondrial diseases illustrate how impaired mitochondria result in elevated energetic costs, fatigue, and reduced capacity to enter restorative physiological states such as sleep. Chronic inflammation in aging, inflammaging, generates systemic energetic stress, promoting mitochondrial dysfunction that further reduces energy availability and propels degenerative processes. Sleep plays a vital role in conserving energy by putting the body and mind into hypometabolic states where heart rate, body temperature, and stress hormone levels decrease. This energy saving allows reallocation toward growth, maintenance, and repair. Meditation, in some experienced practitioners, can reduce energy expenditure even more than sleep by calming the nervous system and optimizing parasympathetic tone. Practices like yoga nidra and non-sleep deep rest can effectively restore mental and physical vigor, sometimes lessening overall sleep need. Both sleep and meditation thus serve as critical periods for mitochondrial restoration and optimal energy flow throughout the body. Dr. Picard critiques the concept of one-size-fits-all diets for mitochondrial health, highlighting the enormous variation in metabolic responses among individuals. Strategies like ketogenic diets and intermittent fasting have shown dramatic benefits in some people, including improvements in mental clarity and energy, while not working universally. Avoiding overeating is crucial because excess caloric intake overwhelms mitochondrial capacity, with increasing resistance and promoting metabolic dysfunction. Nutritional adequacy, particularly in B vitamins and CoQ10, supports mitochondrial enzymatic pathways. Alcohol, by forcing energy diversion toward detoxification and impairing sleep, diminishes mitochondrial efficiency and overall energetic health. Exercise is a powerful stimulator of mitochondrial biogenesis and energy capacity, exemplified by endurance training that can double mitochondria in muscle. However, there is a balance to maintain. Excessive training can drain energy reserved for other vital systems like reproduction or cognition. The beneficial effects of exercise lie not only in resistance imposed on muscles, but also in the cycles of effort and rest, energy flow through contraction followed by relaxation. Tailoring exercise intensity and volume to one's unique energetic capacity and psychological motivation is essential to avoid overtraining syndrome and maintain mitochondrial health across organ systems. There is a bidirectional relationship between subjective psychological states and mitochondrial function. Individuals reporting greater life purpose, social connection, and well-being tend to have higher mitochondrial energy transformation capacity, at least in brain tissue. Conversely, chronic psychological stress can damage mitochondria, reducing energy flow and contributing to disorders like depression and anxiety. These findings suggest that fostering meaningful, purposeful living supports mitochondrial vitality, reinforcing energy flow at cellular and systemic levels. Central to the discussion is the idea that energy transformation requires resistance. Resistance, whether physical or mental, creates the conditions for growth, adaptation, and learning. Too little resistance leads to stagnation and boredom. Too much causes overwhelm and burnout. This principle extends from biology to psychology and education, where the right amount of challenge stimulates development without crushing spirits. Life's dynamic balance between stress and relaxation, effort and rest, doing and being, can be seen as a flow of energy encountering and overcoming resistance. While there is significant interest in supplements and peptides intended to enhance mitochondrial function, such as coenzyme Q10, SS31, L-amypretide, and NAD precursors, Dr. Picard remains cautious due to limited and mixed clinical evidence. In cases of deficiency, these compounds can be beneficial, but for otherwise healthy individuals, the efficacy and safety remain uncertain. Interest is growing in integrating energetic biology with novel interventions but current mitochondrial-targeted pharmacotherapies often fail to deliver consistent improvements. Energy-based healing approaches like photobiomodulation and electromagnetic field therapies hold potential but require more rigorous study. The conversation closes with reflections on mind-body unity through the lens of energy flow. Concepts traditionally regarded as metaphysical, such as chi, prana, or energy channeling, may have grounding in the physical reality of mitochondrial electron flow and energy transformation. Practices like Tai Chi, yoga, and breathwork modulate energy by creating cycles of contraction and relaxation, resistance and rest, fostering balance in the system. Awareness of energetic states, whether through meditation or personal reflection, can enhance self-regulation and health by optimizing mitochondrial function and psychological well-being. Currently, mitochondrial health can be assessed in clinical settings mainly for diagnosing rare mitochondrial diseases, but practical tests for optimized mitochondrial function or energetic status in healthy individuals are lacking. Dr. Picard's group is developing platforms for fine-grained mitochondrial profiling, mitotyping, and aims to integrate biological and experiential data. The future holds promise for accessible technologies and wearables that empower individuals to monitor and modulate their energetic state through personalized interventions targeting mitochondrial function and mind-body harmony.